Good evening and welcome to a landmark Historic Preservation Board agenda. Tonight is the 500th meeting of the board. We've been around for a few years. I'll call the meeting to order. I'm Tom Combs, the chairman. We need approval of the minutes from May, the last meeting that we had. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
And a second? And a second? Any discussion, edits, comments? Okay, they are approved. We have a number of items tonight. The first one being that the town has asked for an affirmation of all of the decisions that we made with respect to the Clark House and the lodge that will be built behind it. So we want to go through those. It's a fairly lengthy list, but we'll go through them all. I want to start with Andrew Hart from Bergman, who's going to take us through a couple of the items that we had left as TBDs. Welcome, Andrew.
Good evening. Andy Hart with Bergman here to just discuss the last two items that we had outstanding from our previous meeting on selecting of materials.
Oh, yeah. We're not quite doing the list yet, but when we do, I can put it up. Yeah, we're going to go through some material options first.
So one of the materials we looked at was the cultured stone that's going to go around the new fireplace for the event space and also go around the wall that surrounds the covered porch. And we picked a profile last time, but we didn't pick a color. So this is, we reviewed with the town and the committee, and what they selected was what we call a Bucks County. So it kind of has a little bit of different colors in it that would reflect with the decor inside the building. This would be used on the inside of the fireplace, the outside, and that wall area. The profile, I think we picked the last time we were here, same kind of limestone. And this was the color that was selected by the town and the design team. We do have two other ones we could show you if you'd like, that a little different color range, but this is what the town picked.
Now that's not real stone.
Correct.
Right.
It's cultured.
Comments from the team here? So that'll be in the on the fireplace inside and outside, and on the ledge, if you will, the wall that goes along
The patio.
the pavilion, I think they're calling it.
Yep.
So it'll be on both sides, the front and the back of that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Okay, is that all right with everyone? We don't need to vote on something like that.
Nope, just as long as there's no disagreements, I guess.
Okay, great.
And then the other last item we talked about as a group was the roof material for the Clark House itself. When we first proposed to the town and to the board, we were proposing a asphalt shingle. This was what we proposed. It's basically a charcoal colored asphalt shingle, 25-year warranty. This is what we're going to use on the event space, and the preservation board was good with that, but wanted us to look at something more, I think the term was period appropriate for the Clark House itself. So we went back to the design team and we looked at a few options. One was, we really don't know what was on the house. We don't have any photographic documentation or any written documentation about what the material was on the house when it was first constructed. So we were making an assumption that it was probably some kind of wood cedar shake, most likely. So we looked at, and not wanting to use wood on the new construction of the Clark House, or the renovation construction of the Clark House, we looked at a couple options. We looked at, it's a recycled plastic material that's made by, let's see, it's made by Brava, it's the company name, And they call it a cedar shake, and it's basically a recycled plastic material in the length of a shake, cedar shake, and you can get them in a couple different colors. It's a newer product, hasn't been out very long. The design team was a little worried about the longevity of that material and what it would look like after years of the sun beating on it. We know how plastic interacts with the sun, with vinyl, and that sort of material, so we were kind of worried about that. So we also looked at another material. It was it's called Country Manor Shake. It's an extruded aluminum product that looks like a cedar shake, comes in a panel, and it's aluminum basically stamped to look like a shake. That product, we weren't really happy with the material itself. It didn't seem to have the type of longevity you would get from a typical asphalt shingle. And Barrow's comment was they were kind of concerned using something that kind of represents a look of something else, and would rather have a more natural material for the roof. So the last thing we looked at, and what I think if we don't go with what the town would prefer, is the town committee would prefer to use this shingle. But they do have an alternate shingle that GAF makes, and it has a profile. It has kind of a shadow line to it to kind of look like a cedar shake would look. You can kind of
It's
see.
more like slate to me.
Looks a little like slate, but it kind of has this undulating. It's not straight across like an architectural shingle straight across. So it does have this. Almost looks like it's a hand cut, either slate or wood cedar shake. This material's an asphalt shingle, very similar to the asphalt shingle we're using on the event space, and has the same warranty. It's readily available, and so what we were thinking about doing is either using this or the original asphalt shingle.
I think going back all the way back to last fall, the board had talked about having the two roofs look the same. You probably remember that.
Yep.
And I don't know how we think about the appearance of the roof if we had the last one that you showed us versus
The other asphalt,
the
the two
regular
asphalts
asphalt.
together. The one good thing is that there's the connector between the two buildings that
Yeah.
kind of separates them, that flat roofed
Oh,
area.
that's right. Yeah.
Does kind of help give some separation, which I think helps a little bit too.
Yeah.
I thought we had talked last time about it being a more period historic shingle rather than an asphalt shingle.
We did, and the town was not, the town committee wanted us to look at other alternatives that were not a real wood shingle.
Did you look at any of the metal panels that are,
Yeah, I mentioned that one, aluminum
mentioned
extruded.
aluminum one, but there's a lot of our wood shake appearing metal that aren't, that's steel clad.
Yeah, it's basically the steel, what I think you're presenting, or what you're proposing was pretty similar to what we looked at. It was a metal panel that goes on the roof that looks like a shingle. But
You said
Barrow,
the longevity was an issue there.
longevity, the maintenance, and it didn't look like it's something that you could easily get onto either. It's pretty slippery.
What's the maintenance issue on it?
In terms of protection from any type of hail or storm, like that material, that could easily dent it. It had a lot of undulations to it. And I think Barrow's input on it was they didn't want to use a product that was not a true construction product, but that had a faux look, if that makes sense. They wanted to use more of a real asphalt shingle. They've used this product on projects very similar to Clark House, and I think the look gives you the look of a cedar shake, but at the same time provides you a more modern material that's readily available and would match the event space.
That doesn't look, to me, anything like a cedar shake.
So I have one question. Right now, it is a 3-tab asphalt shingle roof on the
no.
building, right?
Oh, today? Yeah.
Yeah.
Great question. I can't remember. It
Well, I
might be
guess
it might be an,
Asphalt, right?
it's asphalt shingle, but I think it might actually be an architectural type.
Architectural. So I guess just thinking, from them about like preservation standards, you don't want to use a material that you can't prove was there historically, because that's false conjecture of a historic material on a property that may or may not have existed. And while we can kind of guess at what the historic material period appropriate would have been, I don't know if and this is just me talking about the different materials that he's mentioned, I don't know that I think that a metal roof would be quite right, because again, even if it's stamped to look like a shingle, it's still going to be shiny when the sun is on it, so it doesn't really look the same. I guess
They put granules on them. You can't tell the difference from the ground.
Oh, okay.
But-
I guess in my experience with preservation projects, it's either you put back something that you know was there historically, so the historically accurate material, or you replace in kind with what's existing now to be the same. So in my mind, those are kind of our two options without knowing what actually was on the house before the current roof.
But the latter option that you just mentioned, would that say you wouldn't want to do this last version and you'd want to just stick with what's going to be on the lodge?
Yeah, this would be compared to this.
I think if it came down to having to choose between these two with no other options, I would go with the architectural shingle, just because it's got more of a shape that maybe a wood shingle roof would have had. This one really does appear more like slate to me, like these individual tiles are too big.
All right, what's our decision? Chuck, you
I vote no.
vote for what? For
Either a cedar, which would be architecturally appropriate, or metal panel in the form of cedar.
Mike?
I like the shingles, not the first one, the second one. The finish is alternative. It's not quite even all the way across, it's just that one right there. I like that one.
That's the one that you would suggest, Megan?
Yeah, I think I would go with one of these two, and again, only because if we don't know what was there historically, then in my mind, I'm basing this off of what's there now, and it would need to match the existing.
All right, then I think I would go with that as well. So, but do we need a formal vote on that?
Well, so you decided on the asphalt, but you didn't decide what size, between the two.
No,
The
I think we did. I think the one you were pointing to is essentially it's kind of what's there now.
This is pretty close to what's there now,
Okay.
just different color.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so we'll go with the Timberline
All right.
EAF, okay. All right, I think that was
That's it
all I had
for-
for this evening, yeah, unless there's any other questions.
Look.
No.
All right.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you. Thanks
All
for
right,
coming.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much, appreciate it.
Now, let's go back to the two lists. One is for the 1832 house, and then one is for the lodge, the event space. Which one should we? All right, the lodge event space is up. What I'll do is I'll just read through them, and if there are any questions or about what we agreed to at the time, I've written down a couple of things, but we'll see if we can get through them promptly. First one, partial covering of the pavilion. You remember the first set of drawings had the entire patio area, they're calling the pavilion, was covered, and we thought the massing of that was inappropriate, so basically it was cut in half. That was what that one was all about. And jump in if you have any questions. The next one was the exterior access to restrooms, which you remember we took from facing east to kind of setting them so that they were facing south, so they weren't necessarily visible from people coming into the facility. And we talked about, we wanted better separation between the old and the new visually, and a darker color on the siding, so that would, because you got a white colored house and a white colored lodge, and we wanted something that would break up that visually. The next one is the large windows that were at the front of the building, the north side. We thought they looked a little bit too contemporary, or too much like a large store or something. So we thought that should be changed. But my question on that, Shannon, is do we know what a new version is, or will we get to see that?
So I think that, Andrew, was that when you changed the orientation of the entrance, is that correct?
Yeah, we're talking the store, the front entrance of the event space?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the orientation was changed, so you didn't have that big, clear story
Correct.
window anymore.
Correct, we do not have that anymore.
Right, so that design was changed.
All right, so this comment then is, kind of goes away.
Correct.
Yeah, so basically that was a comment, and then for use purposes, it was actually changed anyways.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, good. The next two bullets are kind of the same thing. They have to do with differentiating, but still making compatible the old house and the new structure. And we had the main change that we suggested was the roof line, which I think, looking back on it, was a good suggestion. I think that, Chuck, coming from you or from Mira, to lower that roof so that it didn't overshadow the house, and I think that worked out well. On the addition of the dormers on the east side, which was done in the drawings. Shutters removed from the windows at the new section, which we thought they looked a little out of place. And that was done also. Materials to be used, the siding, we agreed with what was proposed as far as the siding, which is the fiber cement planks with the large 10 and 3/4 inch exposure. White ones for the main structure in dark gray, which I think is for just the section between the lodge and the old house. The stone, you talked about that, so we're all set there. The glass that we were having the lightest tint possible, was that for?
That was for the dormers being functional windows or being faux windows.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
The storefront windows, that was the one, that was the same issue, I believe. The window trim, I put a question mark there. I don't remember what our comments were about the window trim. Anybody remember that?
I think that was just a material. I think it was whatever was suggested by Barrow was just approved. I could look up the exact one, but.
Right, but that was it, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then the asphalt shingles, we talked about that. And then filling in the basement foundation under the 1939 portion of the old house to allow the construction of the lodge. And my only question about that, because I actually had never been in the basement, I don't know what kind of opening there was from the old house to the 39 section. Was the whole entire wall removed, or just a doorway?
It's a little larger than a doorway. It's probably 8 to 10 feet wide, something like that.
Is it structural in nature, so it's going to have to be careful?
It'd have to be rebuilt.
Yeah, okay. All right, that was that list. Maybe we would jump into the 1832 house list. It needs a formal certificate of appropriateness, and that goes back to the comment I made that the town needs affirmation of this list. What we have right now for approval is sort of a temporary holding place. We talked about having rehabilitation over a total replication of the house, which would be hard to do for 192 years old. But we'd like it to last for another 192. The existing chimney, we talked about having that come down. It's the one on the north side. It wasn't original to the old house. Porch entry, restoring to what we believed is the original condition. It was basically fully enclosed, but it would have been open on the sides. The foundation, we said, would stay as it is. It was deemed to be adequate. It holds up the walls. The stormwater, I think a lot of that is grading and gutters that will take care of that. The light fixtures at the two sides of the porch, we didn't think looked appropriate, so they're going to be removed and replaced with something. The exact look of those, I think we'll wait for Barrow to let us know what looks appropriate on the sides. Wood clapboard, replace wherever needed. I think we were all in favor of that, of course. And the porch on the east side, repaired to make it safe and functional, and that was kind of a major rebuild of the porch, including the bench that was on there. That wasn't mentioned in here, but I think there was a built-in bench there. And the roof would have to be modified since it now sort of runs into the 1939 portion. The existing insulation plugs to be removed and plugged with solid wood. Maintaining the existing nail heads. And the post that's on the east porch would be replaced to match the other columns that are there. And the basement window wells, we did have some discussion about that. We should close that off. We wanted to avoid just bricking it up with concrete blocks. So we wanted to match the existing field stone, which is different from what Andrew just showed us, or to replace with a window. So what's our feeling about that? The windows versus just closing them up to look like the original foundation.
I think it was kind of left open to see how close the field stone could be matched and if it would be appropriate or not. And if we can't get close enough to match that it really looks too different and it just can't be done, then windows would be appropriate. Is that correct? Or is there a difference?
Well, in this case, the field stone you're talking about is I'll call it rounded. There's nothing cut about it. I would think there'd be plenty of that around Penfield.
Yeah, I think it would just be about sourcing it and the craftsmanship to actually install it correctly.
Yeah.
So I think that's more of a down the line.
Yeah, it's the plan we're going to try to do is if there's any areas where we have to take away the existing foundation wall, try to recapture some of that existing fieldstone and reuse it in the windows.
Yeah,
Wells,
it's a
that would
small
be-
area.
It's very small. We don't need a lot
in my
of it.
backyard. If you
Exactly. So we're going to work with Barrow to make sure if we don't get enough of the existing material that we have something that closely represents it. We have not selected that material.
Do we know if windows were normal at the time? I have no
I
idea.
have
That's
no
a tough
idea.
one too. Yeah.
We have hardly any historical photos, so it's so hard to say
So
if
hard.
those window wells were even originally there.
All right, so we'll leave that one to Barrow, and it's at some future time.
Okay.
All right, any comments from anyone? Questions, concerns? All right, then, is it time for a formal certificate of approval?
You don't really need a formal vote. You guys already voted for a certificate of appropriateness for the lodge space. I guess I more so just wanted to go through the list, make sure that I had it right, I wasn't missing anything or had anything misinterpreted, so that I can update the certificate of appropriateness to be more specific and more detailed, because the original one was more of just a preliminary based on the idea of the lodge without the specifics, especially regarding the materials, so.
So the town doesn't need anything additional from us?
Not right now. We will when we do the certificate of appropriateness for the demolition and then for the rehabilitation of the 1832 portion, which I assume we will be doing fairly soon.
Okay, good. All right, we'll set aside action item number 1 then. Okay, and for the people visiting, thank you for your patience. Let's go to the 2179 5 Mile Line Road. That's the Butler Maloney residence. And Vincent?
Yes,
Vincent Randazisi? Is
yes,
that close enough?
yes, that's very good.
Okay. You're going to take us through, first of all, the egress windows and what the family wants to do there.
Yeah, existing are basement windows that are original to the house. There's currently a laundry room and a bathroom in the basement. This house, by the way, is extraordinary in its construction. The walls, all of the walls, interior, exterior, are made out of a concrete masonry unit. The floors are all a concrete plank. The ceiling height in the basement is 8 feet high. It's exceptionally clean and dry and useful for family activities. So presently, there's a laundry room and a bathroom in the basement, and the family would like to be able to use the basement, so they want to replace those existing basement windows with egress windows to make it a safe space to use for the family for whatever habitable purposes that they're planning to use it for.
And just for everyone's reference, in order to make a basement occupiable space, per code, you need an egress window.
Right.
Now, when we talked about this the first time, though, we weren't aware, or I wasn't aware that there was actually a walkout. So there's a door in the leaving the basement.
There is.
But you want more than that. The family wants more than that.
Yeah, the space that is immediately adjacent to the bathroom and laundry room is separated to some degree. There's an opening that leads to like a hall at the bottom of the basement stair, that around that corner from that is a door out the back. That is true. However, the family would like the space that is immediately at those existing basement windows to also be useful for as a flex space or possibly even bedrooms at some point.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a safety proposal.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, are those windows they're partly below grade? It's hard to tell from the.
Mostly below grade. Yes.
All right. So the
egress windows will certainly be mostly below grade.
yeah. Now this picture.
These are like renderings of, photoshopped renderings of what the new egress window and window well would look like.
I don't know where that came from, but,
That must have come from the contractor.
oh, okay, from Kyle?
I believe so. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah, the contractor sent me more information.
So that's different from the pictures that we saw before, which there was a sort of a flatter.
Right, so, I mean, it's hard to tell because of all the foliage, but I circled the locations of where the two existing windows are. So there are existing windows, they're just not the full-scale egress windows and wells, that's all.
Okay, comments, questions?
Will the existing openings that the windows are in, does that size have to change?
So it will a little bit. The existing width is 40 inches. We're going to go to 48 inches to have the required dimension for an egress window.
Okay, what's going to be visible? I know now that there's ferns or something in front, you really can't see anything. but-
Yeah, there's ferns, you're right, in the front.
We're gonna change the landscaping, but it's gonna be.
This is the homeowner,
And
Greg.
You have the high, what are those trees?
Hemlock or some kind of tree up front,
You can't
yeah.
even see the front of the house from the street.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll neaten that up versus its current state. We'll plant some hedges or trees in front.
Any concerns with the board? All right, then we'll go for a vote. Can someone make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the change.
And a second?
A second.
And a second? All in favor? Aye. Any further discussion? All right, then those are approved.
Great,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, now don't go anywhere.
Right.
You're next. Is that Mr. Butler back?
Yes, that's Greg Butler, the homeowner.
Yeah. All right, so the next one is the, at the back of the house, and then a little bit on the north side, some replacement windows, or I guess there's some new windows. Some of them are going in a space that doesn't have a window. It's for the expansion of the kitchen, which everything that happens on the inside is not for our board because it's an enclosed section that you're changing. So it's strictly the windows that we're talking about. So you want to take us through that?
Yes, as you can see it on the screen, it looks almost black, but actually they're green. Louvers, yes, those rectangles, and what those louvers are fixed. They don't rotate. And it's presently a porch, which you can see on the existing plan immediately above on the upper left corner of the, oh, you can see in the photograph there, right. So what the homeowner wants to do is remove those louvers, close in the space with windows that are appropriate to the house, and use that, what is essentially not a very useful porch. You can't even see out of these louvers. You can't even see outside of them. To use that space now as part of the kitchen. And it will make the kitchen space much more accommodating to the homeowner and a much more modern kitchen. So you can see on the elevations on the right what the new windows would look like, and then we would replace all the stucco with stucco, properly installed as it would have been originally, which is all covered in the construction documents.
Okay, so it's not a four-season porch right now.
It's
Or-
a 3-season porch, or, yeah, like 2-season. I mean, they're louvers, there's no glass, and like I said, you can't even see out of them. So it makes it kind of an enclosed space that maybe many people would not find much use for. Wouldn't you agree, Greg?
We need the additional size of the kitchen. 6 of us.
All right, so any questions from the board about what's going on there? They're replacing that with the windows that you see in the other drawings.
Existing is on the left, proposed is on the right.
Yeah. What kind of windows are, say, in the upstairs? Are they wooden windows? Or?
They are, but all the windows on the house are presently covered with aluminum storm windows.
So
I
what?
think the proposal was to do aluminum-clad windows for the
Yeah,
new windows, right?
aluminum-clad wood windows by Pella, and I chose a color that would be as close as possible to what is there now. And it's a gray, which I could pass this around, wolf gray. I don't know if you want me to pass it around.
I think we can all see that, I think.
Okay.
Up at the top right here. up at the top right. And then the gray for the slider egress windows is a very similar gray, almost identical. It's hard to see from a distance.
So that's the color of the current trim around the windows.
Of the current aluminum storm windows that are everywhere existing around the house.
Okay. What else do we need to know? Questions?
I felt like reviewing this one, it's a fairly minimal change to the exterior of the house, and it really doesn't add a feature that doesn't blend appropriately with the house, so I personally don't have an issue with it, and the windows that they're using are aluminum clad wood, which is what in the preservation world we recommend for new windows anyways, so I'm not concerned about the actual window material either.
Other comments? All right, we'll need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
And a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, aye, aye. All right, it's unanimous. It's approved. Thank you for coming in.
Great, thank you
Ms.
so much. Thank you very much.
Yep, I'll follow up with you, and we'll get moving on the permits for all of that. Great, thank you,
Thank you,
guys.
Shannon.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Vincent. Okay, next item is 2152. That's the little house that was completely redone before we heard about it. Is Mr. Sharp on the phone?
Yep, it looks like he is participating on Zoom right now.
Okay.
Good evening.
We know that your changes to the house are all done, but we do want to know, to have you take us through the changes that you made.
Starting from the roof was replaced with a new architectural asphalt shingle.
Sorry, Matt, could you speak up? I can't...
Or if we can raise the volume possibly.
I'm sorry, I'm kind of out in the middle of nowhere right now. I have the volume up all the way to 100.
Okay, well,
So the roof was replaced with the architectural asphalt shingle, torn off, replaced. We stripped off the aluminum siding and installed new double 4 vinyl siding with an accent siding on the front porch, lower front porch, board and batten siding. We put all new vinyl soffit, maintenance-free soffit, new aluminum gutters, and all new windows as well, new vinyl windows.
and we noted that there were some fairly significant changes to the windows on the north side, to the location of the windows.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I did build the dormer on the back of the house as well.
That dormer is new. I don't think we had seen that before.
Yes, yep. That was included in the scope of work, but it is new from the May meeting that you guys, of what you guys were aware of. Yep, and just as the vinyl windows that were replaced, those existing, there were already vinyl windows there.
There were.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And Matt gave me a sample of the exact color and vinyl siding, just so you guys could see it up close in person. Looks a little blue from the road, but it's actually gray.
Okay.
It's called natural slate, I believe.
Yes.
Well, Matt, as you know, the procedure would have been for you to come before this board months ago before any work got started. We understand that you eventually got the building permit and went ahead and finished it. But do we have any comments from the board? Any questions?
I guess I do have one question about the windows that are on the side elevation of the house there's a few that are now not there that were there before, and I think one might have even changed in size to where you see the entrance door, the kind of square casement window to the upper left of it, I think used to be a full 1/1 window, and there was one on the right-hand side as well. A window up in the gable peak disappeared. Yes. So I'm just wondering, we can't review what happened with the interior of the house, that's not under our purview, but how it impacts the exterior of the house. So I guess my question is just, why were the windows altered?
Right, so the one in the stairwell, which was shrank down in height, we changed so that it would meet today's code, because before the window was about 6 inches from the landing on the stairs, and I didn't want any of my kids, going through the window. So we raised that to a reasonable height that would meet the code. The other window was the person that lived there before, they kind of just makeshift this window in the bathroom where it was. It was not laid out well, and the other window on the right corner was redundant because we have a glass in the front door. I think does that cover them all?
Yes, I think so.
All right. Any other specific questions from the board? Well, I think, Matt, from anything I've seen, the house sure looks better compared to what it was just a year or so ago. But we're going to need a motion here. How do we want to move? Anyone?
I guess I'll go ahead with a motion. I do think that this looks, much better than what it had looked like sitting vacant for all those years. So I do applaud the hard work to, make this livable again. I think that the motion I'm about to make is I'm making a motion to deny the certificate of appropriateness for the following reasons, and this is again because the Preservation Board and the considerations that we have to look at when deciding whether or not work is appropriate. I realize that there was aluminum siding on the house prior, which likely may not have been original, but typically for these types of things we would not approve vinyl siding because it's not historically appropriate and hadn't been there already, so it wasn't replacement in kind. I think some other concerns I have in my reasoning are those windows that were removed. I don't know if having a redundant window because the door has lights in it is a reason to remove the location of a historic window, or a historic window location. The window itself was not historic. I do understand making the stairwell window smaller to deal with, interior safety issues, but, I think hindsight, I understand that, but I think if we had been looking at this before, we could have looked at some alternative ideas to keep the historic window location there, or it may have been appropriate to make that one smaller if the other window to the right was staying. I don't know that I really have a major concern about the dormer on the back, just because it is on the back of the house and does allow for more space for a family to be there, so some exceptions can be made for that. But I think overall with the siding and the vertical siding on the porch, which wouldn't have been there like that, and the removal of some of the windows, I make a motion for a denial.
Okay, do we have a second for that motion?
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? We'll take a vote.
I would just build on that a little bit with the PVC railings and handrails and spindles. Not very appropriate for that age of a house either.
So we have a motion and a second to
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Chucky said he couldn't hear
I don't know
what
what he
you
couldn't
said.
hear. I was going to concur with the motion and just add that the PVC handrails and spindles and railings are not period appropriate either.
Okay, can we take a vote? All in favor of the denial?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion is denied.
All right, Matt, so I will follow up with you on next steps tomorrow.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you, Matt, for calling in. All right. We have 2172 5 Mile Line Road. Joe and Andrew Smith. You're Joe.
I am Joe, yes.
All right, with the proposal to stretch out the garage a little bit and put a master bedroom suite on the top of it.
Yes, yes, good evening. Thank you, everybody, for having me. Yeah, so our plan, we live in a 3-bedroom house. We ourselves have 3 children of our own, and we are foster parents. So that makes 4 kids, 2 adults in 3 bedrooms. And so we need space in order to grow. And in order to do that, and in order to remain a foster family, we do need an extra bedroom in our house. We've looked at multiple options. We've looked at adding a bedroom onto the back, into the basement, many other options. And the one that makes the most sense, both economically as well as making the house not look, I'm going to call it a Frankenstein house, right? Like just kind of a addition just to make an addition, is to expand the garage a little bit and then to put an addition over the garage. We would use materials that match. We would use a hardy board that matches the cedar shakes. So we would kind of shy away from the cedar shakes, but use a hardy board that matches and mimics that same material. We would match the windows within the house. The house has vinyl windows currently, so we would use those same windows that we currently have in the house. The roof line, the shingles would all match. We would tie everything in all together.
And just for everyone's reference, you came in to the board back in 2019 to seek input on this project with these exact renderings.
It is.
So nothing has changed. And at the time, you know, even though most of the board is different now, the board did determine that the proposal would complement the residents and that you were okay to move forward. But there was no certificate of appropriateness issued because it was more of just some input rather than actually moving forward with the project at that time.
Well, I remember that, and Mike, you might remember that one as well. We go back a ways. So stretching the garage is not that's for that's a zoning issue, right?
So it is your purview because it's an exterior change, but they are also seeking out a variance for that change because it will not meet the setback requirements. So that is going in front of the zoning board. You've already submitted the application and everything.
August 14th.
Yep, so your decision will technically be contingent upon the approval from the zoning board.
Yep, okay.
So if and when the zoning board approves it, and you guys do your approval, it will go through at that time.
So from these, I had a couple of questions here. From these pictures, you can't really tell that it's cedar shakes on the outside of the original house. And hardy board I think of as being horizontal, and so I don't know what it looks like when it imitates cedar.
Yeah, so Hardy makes a new product that essentially is stamped like a cedar shake. So it just is it doesn't require the labor that cedar shakes require, but it mimics the same, it looks like a cedar shake.
Can it be exactly the same color?
Yes, it's paintable.
As-
Yeah, so it'll be painted the same color as our house.
Oh, as you answered my window question, you said they'll be the same as you currently have. You can see that you've got to remove part of the existing dormer in order for the roof line of the addition to go up there.
Yes, yeah.
I think that was one of the questions I had looking at this is overall, I don't take any issue with this. Actually, it's something I would like to do at my house. But I think my only question is, and I understand that you didn't really want to have to engage an architect if we were just going to deny it here, so I understand that. So while I don't really take issue with what's trying to be done, the materials have been explained, I guess my only question is understanding better how this connection will be made to the existing house. When you do have drawings.
How about that one? That was in the packet that was submitted to the board,
Okay.
I think. If not, it was to the board.
Maybe
No,
it was
wasn't
submitted to
this
the
one, it was
zoning board?
The zoning board. But it
Actually,
gives you a better idea
These
of
drawings look better than that.
Okay, yeah, if we could pass those around so everyone can see
Yes.
them, that would be great.
So I guess the question I had was,
That's
on the
probably the best one. So it
So on
would
the
just be a
second-
hip joint at the top,
right,
and it would tie in.
so
Cross.
for the opening to get into that space, is it going through one of the existing openings that's there, or will a new opening?
It's actually a window at the top of our stairwell,
Oh, okay.
and so it's a window space that will turn into a doorway into the new space. So the garage will actually move forward by about 6 feet in order to accommodate that new walk-through, and then right through there. So it's kind of a nice tie-through.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see those plans because the garage actually looks a little narrower than it looks in these renderings here, which I like. I mean, I was going to go for this anyways, but I think it's nice to see that rendering. or
So you
the
said
plans.
the garage will move forward or just be lengthened forward?
It will be widened by 4 feet, I believe, and forward by about 6 feet, and it will go backward by 4 feet, I think it is.
Okay, all right, yeah, I didn't pick that up from the drawings, from these renderings. Another thing that we sometimes think about is the mass of the house. I went down past the house just today to see how it would it really stand out. And it'll stand out because I think it's pretty attractive, but it didn't look like it was overpowering the neighborhood.
Yeah, we're actually hoping that it will balance out the house.
This is good to show us. Okay, and the pitch of the roof is going to match the existing house?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Other questions? Comments? All right, do we have a motion?
I move to accept.
And a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any further discussion? Okay, thank you very much.
Great.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, looks good.
So once we get approval from the zoning board, you get official approval from the Historic Preservation Board, and then you can move forward with the building permit from there.
All right.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
good-
Thank you.
Good point. So this is, our motion is contingent on the zoning board
Yes.
approval.
All right.
Thank you.
Good. I am going to steal that paper.
Oh, yep, it's all yours.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Information Alliance at Clark House update, we went through all that. Is there anything we haven't discussed?
Not necessarily, just like I said previously, that the board will still need to issue certificates of appropriateness for the demolition of the back two portions and for the rehabilitation of the 1832 portion, but we're not quite there yet. Obviously, we still have some outstanding items for the rehabilitation, and we're not quite needing to do the demolition part yet. So we'll get to it, but those are outstanding, and I will update the certificate of appropriateness for the lodge event space
Okay.
to make it more detailed, so everyone else.
Share that with the board.
Yep, yeah, right now it's very vague, so it will be more specific with all the decisions that you guys have made so far.
Okay.
While we're talking about the Clark House, is there any updates on the barn?
On the
The
no,
barn?
the barn, you said?
Yeah,
The only update was that there is no update. They're still going through the,
yeah, they're still working on the assessment, or the conditions assessment.
Hasn't that been like months?
I guess there were some issues with access to the building. It was the information that the committee got was fairly vague, but they are working on it, and we are going to be having another committee meeting soon to follow up from that, so.
Yeah.
And I think they said that something like the assessment should be done in the fall, I think.
Okay.
Should be completed, I think might be what the email that went out.
Yeah, there
about
were
it,
some
the committee
site
said.
issues that delayed
Yeah.
everything, but hopefully soon now.
okay, we have on here the town code amendment criteria for certificates of appropriateness.
Yep, so the amendment that the board wanted to make to the criteria for certificates of appropriateness was approved by the town board in early July. So that is going to officially be added to the code.
Okay. And we've seen the language of this.
Yep.
You shared that with us.
Yep, because you
earlier.
guys made a slight adjustment, I think, at the last meeting, and that was included.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, and then the 500th meeting, I had mentioned that at the beginning. That's, Mike, I think you've been here for about 490 of those. God bless you. Any further discussion?
The only other thing that I wanted to let everyone know is that the town board will be making a decision to accept a new board member to the Historic Preservation Board at their next meeting. So as long as everything goes smoothly with that, we will have another new board member at our September meeting. And then we will have a full board of 7 people.
Okay, good, very good. Okay, we have some visitors. Anything that you wanted to ask us or let us know? You're just,
I'm the potential new board member.
okay.
Live in the mud house, so.
We have things to talk to you about. That's good. Glad about that.
What's the status on the Jeff Crane thing for the
Yes,
brewery?
yeah, so I'm trying to find a time to have some sort of formal event and announcement of awarding the Jeff Crane Award, so hopefully in the fall, we'll have that all wrapped up.
Okay. All right, if there's nothing else,
You're all set?
Yep.
Sorry, Ron Rates, I live at 1689 Scrivener
Yeah,
Road.
if you want to come up to the microphone so everyone can hear you, either one.
I've come before you many times in the past. It's been a while though, and,
a couple of us remember you.
pardon me?
A couple of us remember you.
I'm glad to hear that. I do have a couple things that, one in particular that I've addressed with the board previously regarding the roof on my house. It's in need of replacement. It's still not urgent, but that'll be happening hopefully sooner than later. When I talked to you guys previously about it, since it was a replacement, a maintenance type issue, there wasn't any need for me to get a certificate of appropriateness from you guys, and seeing a lot of new faces, I just want to make sure that that's still the case with my roof on the house.
Well, I think the approach that we've taken is if you don't change the color and it's basically the same material, that, yes, you wouldn't need a certificate, and correct me if I'm mistaken.
Yep, so
but I think that's-
replacing, in-kind
what we said.
replacement for regular maintenance. So, right, not changing the color or the material would mean that you do not need a certificate of appropriateness.
So if you stick with the tan color that you have now, I think I call it tan, but the light brown, then you wouldn't need to come to us.
And if, okay, so I think that's, we had a lengthy discussion 2-3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, on that, and my consideration was to improve it with something a little more durable than just your standard asphalt shingle. So I am considering a metal roof, and again, back then, the discussion was, it was a maintenance topic, and I think along those lines, the discussion was that I didn't need to come before you to have that approved or to get a certificate.
I think the wording is pretty clear that if you do a material change, you do need a certificate of
Okay.
appropriateness. So yes,
All right,
a metal
glad I
roof
asked the
would
question
require one.
before
Yeah.
going ahead. All right, so that was one topic. Another topic that's impacting my property, and it's probably not so much a historical preservation board, but drainage on my property has changed over the past couple years, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with where I'm talking about on Scribner Road, where my property is located, but the Shady Rock subdivision recently went in as my neighbor to the south. A great amount of fill was brought in primarily adjacent to my property line, raising the ground level there, and that's changed drainage on my property. Recently, I've tried to communicate with Mark Valentine, town inspector, via email is how I've been doing things in the past, and up until recently, that's been adequate, and I've always gotten decent response from the town, but for some reason, I'm not getting any response, and don't know if you guys have any leverage with the engineering people, anybody else that might be knowledgeable on my drainage issue, but I need to talk to somebody about that. And I think there's some urgency to it because of, and what started this most recently was I noticed there were some town vehicles and inspection crew in there. They were inspecting the sewers, the storm and sanitary, it turns out. And that was so that the builder could get an inspection report saying that everything was hunky-dory with what he did, and a bond would be released so that he could get his money back. So again, probably not an issue for the Historic Preservation Board, but again, my inquiries of late have fallen on deaf ears, and I need some help there. And again, since it's a historic property and it's an item on my list here, I figured I'd talk to you guys about it tonight.
Well, I am extremely familiar with your property. I feel like I spent half my youth in the barn.
Understood.
And so I know exactly, and it's always been a little low down there, even before your current issues. It's always been a little damp.
So, sorry not to interrupt you, but where I'm experiencing my current issue is a low part on my property, but the adjacent property was always lower, and I always had water always flowed downhill for me.
In the old house you're talking about, that neighbor?
No, not the neighbor where the development went in. That was lower than both my property and Mrs. Kessler's.
Yes.
So we always had that as contingency. And when the development went in, that was a topic that was raised. Is it going to impact our properties?
Yeah.
Town assured me that no, that anything the developer does has to be done in a manner such that it doesn't affect us. Things have changed.
Unfortunately, and I know this real well too, is that the Preservation Board, the approval that was given for your house stopped at the front of the barn. So we other than calling the town as an interested bystander, Well, we don't have any,
And again, it was a hot topic with me, and you have the forum here, so forgive me for taking advantage of that, but
I feel your pain. No construction's causing issues at my house with drainage.
we'll have to chat afterwards, maybe.
well, I don't know, and I'd be willing, just as a a guy that grew up the street there, to suggest to the town that they take a look at it, but I don't know if we can do anything.
So my emails, my correspondence has been mainly with Mark Valentine, and I know he had some vacation recently scheduled. I received an out of office reply to one of the emails, but I think he's returned, and I still haven't heard back from him. Maybe it's just a delay in catching up, but I'll cut him some slack for that.
Yeah.
I'm the town board liaison to this committee, so I can take this as a constituent issue and help you out with it.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yep.
What happens, a question about our board, even though it's, what he's mentioning isn't something that we can make a determination or force anything to happen on, can we as a preservation board, I don't know, and I think it's sort of what you're talking about, Tom, take concerns to the town about our designated historic properties if they're being impacted negatively by neighboring work?
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Even the
yeah.
board has brought up issues before about the exterior condition of some of the historic properties. And then it basically would be relayed to whatever department it applies to at the town. So this one obviously would go to the planning and engineering department. If it's something with property maintenance, that would go to code enforcement, so on and so forth. So yeah, if anyone, has issues or notices things outside of this board's purview on certificates of appropriateness, it doesn't mean you can't do anything. It's more of like, hey, the preservation board is concerned about this. Can we look into this a little bit further and just
well, for
come
sure.
from within and hopefully have a little bit more stake.
Is this going to affect the foundation of the barn back there?
The barn, no, it's doing okay on its
Safe?
own. We put a new roof on that recently, and that's keeping it dry, and I'm sure you're aware of structures like that. As long as they're kept dry, they're happy for the most part. The foundation on the house, on the other hand, is another story, because when we did our renovation, we put in a drain that terminates, the plan was to get a French drain, a daylight type drain. The topography is such that we don't quite achieve that. But I do have a drain tile that goes along the southern property line. It's bedded in gravel. It's buried a couple feet below ground. I guess as high as I could get it to go when I was putting it in. That portion is part of what I'm saying is being affected. That's where that house and the neighboring properties, we see a lot of groundwater come end of November, December timeframe. Just the seasonal changes in the groundwater. So my sump pump runs from, again, end of November probably through it used to be late May, early June. This year, it's been running through July, and granted, weather's changed and we've seen some goofy stuff like that, but my complaint is that since the subdivision, that development went in, my water issues have been exacerbated. Groundwater stays
See, now,
longer.
we're really interested in that. If you're having issues in the house
Yeah,
due
so
to that, for sure.
That water, and sadly, I see water coming close to, if not backing up in my basement at least once a year. And again, part of that is because of how the drainage is going out to the low part, which used to accommodate pretty much any seasonal water, groundwater type thing. Now it doesn't anymore.
Well, if some of those issues are due to the Shady Rock development and, posing danger to a house that, that we designated a long time ago, we would want to know about that. And so maybe, Kevin, you can put that on your to-do list with the town, is that we think there's an issue there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
So part of me being here too is I'll look at your agendas that you guys post ahead of time, and if there's topics of interest, I'll show up. And again, it's been a while since I've been here, but your agenda for today's meeting caught my eye. One, the Clark Roadhouse stuff that you talked about early on in the meeting. Question regarding that was, is the public being informed, or, because I think I do a pretty good job of keeping track of what you guys do and the historic properties, and the Clark House, because of proximity to my house, it's something that I'm interested in, but I haven't seen plans or things like that made public. Am I just not looking in the right place, or?
I think
has
the
that-
50% drawings were just posted, were they not?
I believe so.
Yeah, they were presented to the town board at the last meeting, and I believe that they were posted afterwards.
Okay, I haven't seen that,
It was very recent, so.
and where do I look for that?
I'll double check that it's on the website. If it's not, then I think it probably needs to be added. I think that we're trying to keep all of the documents as updated as possible, but I think there's a section on the website that is just for the Clark House project going on.
Yeah, there is.
Yep.
Okay.
And our agendas are also posted on the web, aren't they?
Yep, under the Historic Preservation Board section, and then they're also in the meeting section.
Yep.
Yep.
So again, since I have your attention, if you don't mind, could you humor me, and what is the objective with the Clark House renovation, or the work you're doing there? Is it to make it look like it did when it was built, or and maybe if the answer is go check out this documentation that's now available online, that's fair, but again, I haven't heard much. I don't know that the public has been involved much in the process, and I'm just curious.
Well, the short story is we want to save the house. We want to make it last for a long, long time, and we will do, and the town board has approved us to rehabilitate it and sort of bring it back to, it won't be exactly like it was in 1839, but it'll basically look the same. And then attached to it will be what they're calling a lodge.
Okay. Are you guys then advising it sounds like you have Barrow Associates or Architects, whatever they're called, as the architect on record? Is that true, or?
Well,
No.
Barrow's the-
they're subcontracted from, this is escaping me.
Yeah, so Bergman, which is now Collier's,
Okay.
they have the bid for the project, and they have Barrow on as a consultant for
All right.
historic preservation related stuff.
I
Yep.
heard that the gentleman that was speaking tonight, was he?
He was from Bergman.
From-
From Bergman, okay. And again, curious because of the discussion about the roof choices, the brick or the stone veneer and things like that. I'm curious if you guys have input on guiding that, or if that's just coming from the consultant on what to do there. The discussion about the roof caught me, or was interesting, and because there was speculation on what was there originally. That house, if I'm not mistaken, was 1832, or built in 1832. Mine built in 1835, and it still has original shingles on it underneath the many layers of asphalt that I need to remove and replace. There's wooden shingles under there. I would imagine them being that close in age and all, that they had similar materials.
I've been there. With 2 layers of asphalt over Cedar Shakes.
Yes. Okay. I'll look at what's available on the website and try to appease my curiosity that way.
I think what I'm going to recommend, because of the time, is that you put it all together, and we'll get you on the agenda as a public participant, or wherever it fits. we've
I've
had-
kept you too long already?
Yes, we have.
All right, then I apologize. One last comment, though, that I do want to make, and this is regarding to the motion that you guys, and the denial of certificate of appropriateness tonight. That one struck me close to my heart because of previous dealings with the board and the town, and the way, the communication between town departments and entities and things like that. I'm going to take more of your time. Can you give me just a 1-minute snapshot of what's going to happen with this gentleman now that he doesn't have the certificate of, or the certificate of appropriateness was denied? What happens to him now?
There is a process, and he can appeal to the town.
Yep, so he'll appeal through the zoning board if he wants.
But
Otherwise, he's in violation because of the property maintenance code, the town code, because the work is completed without a certificate of
so
appropriateness.
he'll be subject to a fine or something?
It will, if it's not resolved, then it will go to the town court.
Oh, resolution is him undoing the work that he did.
Right, so right, so the solution is probably not happening at this moment. So he will likely appeal to the zoning board. In the meantime, he's in violation of town code, so he will receive a violation notice from the code enforcement office.
How did he get a building permit to do the work that he did?
The work was already started before the town was aware of it. He he got the building permit afterwards, which happens a lot. And then at that time, he applied for the certificate of appropriateness. So it's not ideal, and it doesn't happen often, but it was a retroactive approval that obviously was denied.
Now, again, I'll let you go because it sounds like you have places to be, but I would like to maybe come and revisit this topic and voice my concerns and opinions about how the town entities talk to one another. I don't believe he should have been denied.
Well, that's a personal opinion. If you want to present something to us formally, then,
Yeah, that might be a off-the-record
yeah.
conversation.
Okay, can I have a motion?
Move to adjourn.
And it's second. You don't even really need to second a motion to adjourn, right?
All right, thank you, everybody.
All right, thanks.